Joining us now is Andrew Desiderio, a senior congressional reporter for Punch Bowl News. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. We read you every morning. Look, Cornyn got the most votes in the initial primary by I think it was 2%, but not enough to avoid this runoff. Is the Trump boost for Paxton really going to be the key here to see him being pushed over the line to become the next senator?
Well, look, a Trump endorsement in a Republican Party is the golden ticket usually, right? And the president doesn't usually endorse someone unless he's very, very confident that that individual is going to win the primary. He likes to tout his, 97, 98, 99% track record, whatever it is, of picking the candidate who ends up winning the primary. In this case, the president had decided very late in this process to weigh in, obviously. I think it was probably going to be the case that Ken Paxton was on track to win this runoff regardless of a presidential endorsement. But remember, Senate Republican leaders had been pleading with Donald Trump for over a year to endorse John Cornyn early on in this race, in part as a business proposition, right? Because you saw Senate Republican leadership and the super PAC align with them and other Republican-affiliated super PACs spend almost $100 million to boost Senator Cornyn throughout this primary. And they believe that if the president had simply endorsed Senator Cornyn early on in this process, that would have essentially dispatched any sort of challenge, potential challenge to Senator Cornyn. And in the process, they would have saved all that money that they could have used on some of these other states like North Carolina and Maine and Georgia and Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk about this particular race because it is Texas, and the likelihood is the Republican, whoever they're up against, even though Tellerico is very, very popular with Democrats, will likely win. I do want to ask you about Paxton because he was brought up on criminal fraud charges. He paid like $300,000 in restitution, did some community service to have the case dropped. As the Texas Attorney General, the Texas House voted to impeach him over bribery and abuse of office. And his wife went public accusing him of adultery, and yet the president endorsed him. Is this because, as you said, he sees him as the next winner, or is this really about a fight with the Senate?
I think this is something that Donald Trump views as a proxy in his war with the Senate right now. Senate Majority Leader John Thune has been very adamant that the Senate is going to maintain its prerogatives on things like the filibuster and something called the blue slip policy for federal judge nominations. That has not satisfied Donald Trump, obviously, and he's been trying to prod John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, over those issues for a long time now. And it became obvious really a couple of months ago, right after this Texas primary, that the president was trying to use this as a cudgel against John Thune and really against John Cornyn. Cornyn ended up switching his entire position on the filibuster. He wrote an op-ed in the New York Post saying that he no longer supports the filibuster and that he would support getting rid of it in order to pass the Save America Act. Ken Paxton has been sort of on that train all along. And so Cornyn was trying to prove and show his bona fides to Donald Trump in that respect.
Andrew Desiderio, thank you so much for coming on and walking us through all that. Kate?